Hello and welcome to the Tradebag, a special footy mailbag episode. We'll run our eyes over all the player moves and make sense of it all for SuperCoach. My name is Damo and here with me is Clarky. How are you, my friend?
That's right, motherfrickers. I'm on a trade/draft themed episode. I never do these because I don't know anything about them, but I was paying attention this time.
It's not what you said to me before we started recording.
No, I said I've been off social media. That's different to paying attention.
Okay, all right.
I've been improving my mental health by not being on Twitter because Twitter is a trash fire. Don't do it to yourselves, people. You can consume media and connect with people in groups that you choose. You don't have to be there. It's great.
Twitter during trade period is funny, though. I will say that.
I wait for the many group chats I have to disseminate the funny memes to me so I don't have to search for them. All the good ones come to me.
And our guest for this episode, he helped me with the Moving Parts series last trade period, and we've brought him back because he did a pretty good job. It is Stephen from the SDS SuperCoach channel on YouTube. How are you, mate?
Doing great, mate. Happy to be back on the Tradebag this year.
Yeah.
Moving Parts was great fun last year, and we're going to condense it into one big recording, so very excited to talk about the trade period.
You guys did really well last year, so I thought I'd come and ruin it. That's the other reason why I'm here.
No. See, I prefer the setup of us three. I reckon it's lovely.
Remember what happened last time all three of us were together? Yeah, it was great fun.
Oh, yeah. Clarky, do the thing.
Do the thing.
So, yeah, trade period finished up Wednesday night. 34 players changed clubs. Some relevant, some not relevant, but we'll go team by team and we'll talk about who came into each club and who gains or loses relevancy now at that club for SuperCoach. Was there any move that in particular that piqued your interest when it was being talked about being happen or when it actually went down?
I feel like there weren't many that came as a surprise this year. We all definitely had our eye on one particular trade, whether it was going to happen or not. I think the entire football world was, but I wasn't surprised when Judd McVie wanted to go to Fremantle and then Clayton Oliver, they were shopping him around and it's like, well, yeah, he's going to go somewhere. And then Christian Petrarca was also obviously wanted out. So I was very one-eyed in terms of my expectations of I wanted to know what Melbourne was going to do under Stephen King, and we got some good players. I'm excited. I think it was genuinely a very stock standard trade period for the most part.
There's not a lot of trades that go down anymore that isn't covered by the media in some way before it happens, and it almost makes trade period a little predictable. But in a sense, it's become more interesting to see how the trade transaction happens rather than the actual move itself. Especially for the big names, like you mentioned, Christian Petrarca, Charlie Curnow, which we'll also talk about when we get there. So, yeah, some interesting moves that didn't happen as well. Rowan Marshall didn't make his way to the Cats. That was going to be very SuperCoach relevant if that happened. And now there's question marks over the Saints ruck setup and whether it's SuperCoach relevant or not.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, that was really the main one, so likely going to have to go back to the drawing board a little bit for our rucks for 2026, because I think a lot of us were banking on that move happening. So, yeah, that'll be an interesting one to talk about. I think this was a crazy trade period. Like, I don't recall the last time. I was saying to my mates in a group chat, just thinking, they'll get done. Any player that requests a trade, it usually does happen in the end. Where we got, I believe, 4 deals not done. The Karmas, Merritt, Marshall, and Archie deals didn't go through. Also didn't mean Hustwaite went through either. So it was just an unbelievable trade period, and there's still plenty of relevancy to discuss on stocks for certain players, whether it's up or down. It'll be good to talk about it.
What was each of our favourite trades that did or didn't get done? Because I have one. I thought the Lee stuff was like one of the most cooked things I've seen happen. Like you said, Stephen, there's so many times where I'm like, oh yeah, like for the most part, unless there's some other controversy around it. the deals get done, right? And St Kilda have been courting is the best way to describe it, I guess. Legal.
They've been going up for 2 years with that contract,
and then told him to go fuck himself.
And I loved Ross Lyon's quote this morning that got released. He said, "I think Leclerc won this decision. Life is messy, football is messy, but everything worked out in the end." It's like, no, not everything.
What are you talking about, bro? You promised the guy a job and then went, oh, actually, nah, though. After he said that he was going to leave his club. Like, what? I think it's really good of the Giants. The Giants re-signed him or they offered him a new contract?
2-year deal.
Yeah, he signed a 2-year deal.
That's classy. I think that's really classy of them because obviously you'd have questions about commitment to a program, but I think they can kind of see that, sold a bit of a lemon.
I think Leclerc would have suited a few clubs if he did want to go to Melbourne, but he wouldn't have been offered the amount of money that the Saints originally had in front of him. So I think that's probably made it more made him decide to stay with the Giants rather than make the move because, moving a house across states, especially for pretty much the same money that you're on, it's not really worth it in the end, especially if you're going to be in the same pecking order at the club you go to.
It's a bit like an episode of The Block where you see a team spend all of their money on like massive copper bathtub and then they're like, oh shit, I've got $5 to do tiling. Oh man, just chuck down some Herald Suns, like just paper mache them to the wall and ceiling. Like this is all I've got left.
Saints went shopping with a credit card and then when they finally got their first bill in the mail, they had to give something back.
Ross Lyon fainted with his chicken rice cracker covered face.
All right, let's start with the Crows. They had a fairly quiet period, didn't get the Calamarchi deal over the line, as we said, but they did bring in Finbar Maley. He's going to be a $195K forward. I don't see any relevance here unless they want to take out Riley Tilthorpe from the ruck and eventually move Finbar Maley into the Taylor Walker position to back up Riley O'Brien. But that would be a gradual thing that happens over the season, I would guess, if he does get any chance in that Crows side at all.
It's just really depth, isn't it? And I'll tell you what, he seems like a great character, so good on him for continuing his career. But, I wouldn't have thought not much relevancy happens until if an injury happens.
I'm super with you on that, Stephen. Finbar Maley is like my new... Now that Oleg Markov has retired and like rest in football heaven, my sweet prince... I love Oleg Markov. Finbar Maley is my new vibes guy for the whole league because he looks like I'm like, yeah, okay. You're listening to techno on the way to work, like you're definitely doing something. You're like leaving the stadium wearing like a weird hat or something like that. Like there's life to him. We just need to see it. Just let it come to the front.
Can we address his nickname? There can't be two mooses. There can't be three mooses in the competition. Finbar Maley is Moose. Max Heath is Moose. Alex Pearce is also Moose. There can only be one Moose.
Imagine if all three played for the same club. You'd just be hearing Moose all day. My favourite tweet was from Beartosaurus, also known as Bear, who does 7 socials, and he said, if I had a nickel for every Moose that got traded, I'd have 2 of them.
Yeah.
Which isn't a lot, but weird that it happened twice. But, we all know moose are known for their migration patterns, Damo, so this is just an important part of nature.
I think, would we say Finbar Maley's the most renowned moose?
Alex Pearce.
Is it set a fair bit in WA?
I would say Alex Pearce, especially over here. Definitely Alex Pearce.
Yeah.
Well, minus points on that for Vic bias. So,
yeah,
obviously Max Heath is the. To be fair, I haven't heard any of these 3 players ever be called Moose before, so it was all news to me, but very good news.
So St Kilda fans would say it on Twitter all the time. I've no idea who you're talking about.
Oh yeah, there are some nicknames that pop up on social media that I'm like, I don't know who that is.
Melbourne's one of that actually is Jake Lever is Rick.
Why?
So people just call him. I don't know why they call him Rick Lever, and I'm like, if you go to someone that, I love the way Rick's played today, and that person's just like scrolling through the team list, like, who the fuck is Rick?
Yeah, they're talking about Ricky Mentha.
Yeah. He's not even playing.
And that's why they loved what he did today, because he wasn't out there.
Oh, poor Ricky.
Poor Rick.
Next team didn't do any trades, but they did bring in some free agents. Oscar Allen and Sam Draper both signed for them. Oscar Allen's going to be about $315K. Sam Draper, $495K, and dual position, possibly ruck forward. Oscar Allen in a full season. Last time he played a full season, he averaged 85 or thereabouts. Sam Draper, I can't recall if he's ever played a full season, but there is the injury risk with him returning from that Achilles tear. But if he's going to be dual position and under 500K, I feel like he might be the one that people turn to now that Rowan Marshall and Tom DeConning aren't on separate teams.
Depends on the role, I think. I thought Darcy Ford was outstanding for them last year, so I'd suspect that they pursue with him a bit more. I think they were eyeing up Draper for a while to replace Big O, so because he had back problems the whole year, so he probably told them earlier in the year about his potential retirement, similar with Danaher. But yeah, it depends on the role. If he's solo ruck, then it's very interesting, of course. Gut feel is that it's going to be Allen, Drape, Morris in the forward line with Draper pinch hitting a little bit. You've got Hipwood in there as well.
Hipwood has to return.
Quite a tall forward line if they go with that. But it's
yeah, I'm not sure how their ruck setup is going to work, but if Sam Draper does play mostly ruck, especially with the new ruck rules that are supposed to be coming in, I think it's going to be really good for the way that he plays. I don't see it benefiting a guy like Darcy Fort. I think Darcy Fort would relegate to the second ruck position if the ruck rules do change the way they are predicted to.
Would he be good to go round one?
He should be. As far as I'm aware, he's going to be there for the start of the Lions pre-season.
Oh, gee. Okay, good recovery then.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting. I think he probably... I mean, what's not broken, don't need to fix it. So I think Brisbane maybe slot him straight into that Big O role and then see if that works. And if it doesn't, they'll start moving the magnets after that. So they probably won't determine that until pre-season. I actually quite think Oscar Allen is really interesting from a draft perspective, maybe not a classic perspective. I think Oscar Allen is someone who might fly under the radar when the forward options are notoriously hard to draft after the first, say the top 10 are gone. It starts to get really speculative. So I think Brisbane are a bit of a powerhouse, and with someone of his talent, if he slots in and sort of integrates to the system quite quickly, that'll be really beneficial for people maybe to look at as a draft experience.
Yeah, his draft value, I think, is going to skyrocket now he's at the Lions and gets a delivery from that midfield group. Sam Draper should also rise up draft boards as well at Brisbane. So, yeah, some good draft options. I think Sam Draper is going to be a good classic pick, but obviously we won't know until until the role that we see in the preseason.
Yeah, we need a lot more clarity on what's going on before we really start having a look at Draper in my eyes. But he's not one to rule out.
They did lose Brandon Starcevich and are going to lose Callum Archie. Obviously, Gideon Coleman will step into the Brandon Starcevich role. Does Oscar Allen step into the Archie role up forward and then they kind of keep the same sort of setup? How do you see Oscar Allen fitting in and Archie sort of not being there?
I think Oscar Allen, the plan the whole time was him to be the Danaher replacement. I personally think they came in last season. They were pretty small up forward, and they had to play a majority ruck down forward later in the season with Hipwood out as well. So I think the Brisbane dynamic will be fairly different up forward. Coleman and Starcevich are entirely different players, but you would suspect that is the ideal replacement. And
they've also got Noah Answorth returning as well.
When did he do his Achilles? Was it like mid last year?
I think it was in the first Q Clash.
The first Q Clash, okay. So, yeah, he might return the first few weeks. I think Answorth probably just does the Starcevich role, and they're quite similar players, so I think that could work just fine.
If we move to Carlton, they brought in 5 players. There's not a lot of SuperCoach relevancy here. apart from maybe one player. Liam Reedy comes in, Campbell Chesser comes in, Ben Ainsworth, Ollie Florett, and Will Hayward as well. Out of these 5, Liam Reedy, who's going to possibly come in at 128k, maybe even cheaper, who knows? There's the feel from Carlton people that he will start in the team with Mark Pitney and then eventually move to the lead role, but it's so hard because the Blues have had so much change to their team and brought in so much. I just don't know how that sort of ruck midfield forward is going to all structure up. And they've lost Tom De Koning, who was a massive part of their team in 2025. How do you guys see it all pan out? Do you think Liam Reedy becomes an option?
Carlton need a ruckman, and I think they've got to try someone, right? Like, because they're clearly not happy with Pitney, or he's not always up to full fitness. Like, whichever it is happens to be at the time, it feels like he's not necessarily in favour as the ruckman for Carlton. I think they need to see themselves go through a lot of change, particularly after the year that has been 2025. A lot of it's gone under the microscope, and I think people will be looking desperately for something to change, and whether that's we need to just give him a chance with Pitney supporting him, then that makes the most sense to me. I think it would be nice to have an R3 who's actually playing for 1 year. Just 1 year.
I think there'll be a few R3s that pop up over the preseason. So, yeah, it'll be nice to have someone. Even the flex position might get a workout with a rookie ruck if we do get some options there. They needed some runoff halfback, and they got Campbell Chesser and Ollie Florent. Do you see those guys taking up a role that makes them at all relevant, Stephen?
Personally, no. I think Chesser will be on the wing. No, I wouldn't have thought so. No, Chesser's the... What?
Sorry, I love that. I just love it. You're desperate. You sound like you're desperately trying to, like, okay, silver lining, there's something in here. Like, no, I don't see it.
I was trying to give Chesser and Florent a chance, but I don't see a world where they are. Yeah, I think they're going to be good pickups. I mean, I love that Carlton and this is what Carlton needed to do. They're reshuffling the coaching staff, the playing list a bit. I think they have lost 2 really good players, but they've also balanced out the team a lot more. So I do like that from an AFL perspective for Carlton. But Florent, a bit of a lockdown guy, the occasional pace-off halfback, and then you got Chesser, who will be a steady head on the wing if he can stay on the park. So, but no, I don't think either will be relevant. I think
it's really funny looking at this Blues list of people that they brought in. And it's, they've got 5 guys here, and it makes me feel like I've done like a loot pool on like a mobile game, and I only got like one guy that I wanted from like the list. Like, you got a chance to get like 20 different players. Like, no, I got one guy that I needed, and then 4 bums who are kind
it looks like the Brooklyn Nets starting 5.
I was going to say it looks like an interchange bench to me. Will Hayward and Ben Ainsworth are probably going to play predominantly forward, which in that role isn't massive for Supercoach unless one of them somehow turns into a Dylan Moore type situation, but no one can be Dylan Moore. And that right, Stephen?
Spot on.
Even Dylan Moore can't always be Dylan Moore.
Collingwood only brought in Jack Buller. Now, I thought he could be a rookie pick, but he's going to be 285k. So, yeah, next, not a lot of relevance.
This guy's made up, right? Like, respectfully, Jack Buller.
199 centimetre key forward, drafted mid-season just over a year ago. He played for Claremont in the Waffle. Pretty good pickup, just young.
Cool. Is he in their best 23?
I think he has to be now. I think he has to be with Brady Mychek gone and them deciding not to play Dan McStay and instead played a Mychek who basically had his toe almost falling off.
Yeah, they made some interesting choices in that prelim, Collingwood.
As a Melbourne supporter, I have nothing to say about playing injured players.
The Bombers brought in Braden Fiorini. He's going to be about 515k. There are people excited by this pick. I'm not on board just yet for this. Stephen, you might need to sell it to me.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be in there to play midfield, but everyone's been telling me he's going to play on the wing. So, but I mean, he is a VFL pig, like Tom Rockcliffe levels of pig in the VFL. So, I mean, and he Gold Coast just pushed him aside, eventually got him in, and just like, yeah, do what you want. And he's still going to be priced at 515k. So he knows how to get the ball. It's just about, I mean, if he gets a midfield role, that's tasty. But if it is wing, then it's just, like, it's cool. But I don't think there's a gigantic uptick in what he was doing at Gold Coast that he's going to do at Essendon. He might get a bit more of the ball, but 515k just makes it really hard unless we know he's playing full-time mid.
Yeah, for sure.
Enjoy your 70 points a week.
They're going to turn him into bloody Dersma.
God, I hope it's Saviour.
Yeah.
The Dockers brought in Judd McVee from the Demons. I don't see this particular pickup being Supercoach relevant, but I see it making Jordan Clark even more relevant for next season. I think the responsibility for the drive out of half back will now get divided up a little bit, so Jordan Clark will get a little bit less of the attention. So I see it being a positive for Jordan Clark in 2026. How do you guys see the Judd McVee addition?
No notes from me on what you said. Stop taking my fucking players. Tell your team to find another club to steadily perform.
Tell your club to stop drafting people from WA.
We'll stop having WA from having so much talent.
WA has like no talent left.
Yeah, because they're all in Victoria, bro. Stop taking them back. I think this is really good for the Dockers. I think he'll be really good. I would have loved to have kept him in almost every world. I don't think there's a reason that he wouldn't be potentially draft relevant, but you're right. From a classic perspective, it's probably only going to bolster the stocks in guys like Jordan Clark, and maybe probably Hayden Young inadvertently as well, I think, because I think we see Young sort of floating around in a few different positions, so it kind of gives other people opportunity to play more set roles. Great pickup by Freo.
And the Cats brought in James Worpel as a free agent. He's going to be 402k or thereabouts to start next season. He's always been an in and under type, not a huge Supercoach scorer. He's had those couple of seasons where he was really underpriced and added 100 to 120k to his price, but I just don't see where he fits into the Cats system just yet. But the Cats will turn him into an All-Australian, and we'll wonder where this form has been all of his career.
I also am still on the stage of like, who does he push out? Like, what's actively so horrible about the Geelong midfield? Because I feel like
it's Holmes, Atkins, Smith, and Worpel becomes the fourth.
Yeah.
I mean, who was the fourth? I thought it was just Dangerfield pinch hitting.
I don't know enough about Geelong, I'm realising now, to ask this question.
I'm going to have a look right now.
Sean Manor, the young rising talent?
Yeah, the best young player in the comp.
Yeah.
I think they had a few people running through the midfield to be that fourth midfielder. I don't think they had that one guy that roamed through there.
Yeah, it was like Oisin Mullen, bit of Dangerfield.
I think Mark O'Connor went through there quite a bit.
Yeah, Brian
well.
Myers towards the end as well.
They probably did lack that fourth pure mid to go through there, especially with Dangerfield reaching the end of his career. So James Worpel is probably a shrewd pickup, and we probably don't really understand the value of it just yet from an AFL footy point of view. But from a Supercoach point of view, I just don't see a world where he is a reasonable pickup. But we could be completely wrong.
Yeah, I guess I guess we can talk about the downsides for a few players. So I know I was talking about last year, if Graham Myers can continue as CBAs, he could be a really good forward for us for 2026. I don't think we'll see as much of him in the midfield there. I mean, Dangerfield probably gets less as well. If they've got a solidified fourth midfielder, it just means we'll see less chopping and changing. But it is Geelong, and they will do weird shit.
Well, Worpel's still a better pickup than Nathan Buckley.
I was at work when that happened. I couldn't believe it.
I don't understand why Tasmania had to release a statement about it either. It's like no other team releases a statement about anything. I mean, I know this.
Could you not make it any more obvious that he was going to coach them?
They got to release a statement about something.
Yeah. They've never done it before.
It's been a whole 2 weeks and they hadn't released a statement. They had to do something.
People forget they exist. What's Rumman doing right now?
The stadium gets built.
I think he's almost homeless, that Rumman.
He bloody looks it.
Hey, he's made with recycled.
He's made out of garbage bags, Clark.
He's made out of recycled children's uniforms.
Oh,
he's
now I feel bad.
And he shits footballs.
And now I feel bad.
He's probably the most environmentally friendly mascot.
That's good. Good on him.
The Suns brought in Christian Petrarca and Jamari Ugle-Hagan. Ugle-Hagan will be $249K in the forward line. Christian Petrarca will be $515K. Dual position, probably forward mid. People will be wanting to start Christian Petrarca, but I would say that he is relevant and people want to start him, and he's probably going to be a good pick, but we saw the role that Sam Flanders was sort of confined to, and it feels like Christian Petrarca is a similar sort of not similar sort of player in terms of the role that he plays, but similar in sort of skill set. And I just don't know if he's going to push anyone out of that midfield that they had in there last season too much.
I think that this is an average Supercoach selection, and I probably would not be starting him. I probably won't even look at him until he does some consistently good things. Unlike Melbourne, he's, like you said, Damo, he's not the top dog. He's competing against a midfield that is Matt Rowell at his Brownlow best, Noah Anderson as one of the best mids in the comp. Took Miller, I think people really underrate just how good he still is. And plus a whole host of other selective talents that still exist at Gold Coast. It's a tough thing.
And they're about to bring in a whole host of academy talent once again, who are mostly midfielders. So it really is too many cooks in the kitchen. Where does Petrarca fit? Kind of situation.
Too many talks.
Are they just going to have him as a Bailey Humphrey role?
Well, maybe that's the role that he's promised, but then that's probably why Bailey Humphrey was looking for a way out, or maybe so. Who knows?
Yeah. There'll be one to be interested in 12 months, Bailey Humphrey.
Do we think Jamara does anything?
I was just about to ask that. They played, what's his name? That doesn't sound like a name. Jai Farah. He played that.
I was wondering where you were going with that.
He played that
name.
He played that third tall role towards the back end of the season and did an okay job. Jamari Ugle-Hagan can probably step into that role, but I think he's a fair way back and probably needs to build through the VFL before we see him at all. But at $249K, if he does come out and blow the roof off whatever the Metricon Stadium is called these days, then
People's First.
Is it called that now? Okay.
Yes.
Then he could possibly be one of our desperate money-making options that we can look at down the track. But yeah, I don't think he starts straight away in that Suns team.
It'll take a lot of work, and there is every chance he doesn't even play a game there. Like, he is on very thin ice by the sound of it. I believe I heard he's moving in with Jared Harbrow, so that'll be very interesting to see how that plays out, because there's every chance it'll work. There's also every chance that we don't even see him play another game.
I think they won't let him go without putting him in for at least a small run of games, because he's only on a 12-month contract at very, very minimum money. So I think they'll want to see him before they extend him at all. And it sounds like the AFL wanted this move to give a number one pick another chance. So I think we will eventually see him, but I don't know how long and in what role. And I see him being Supercoach relevant if he can be good in the role that they give him. But depends. Does he come in to cover an injury, or does he come in because they have a role for him? And that's going to be the massive factor in terms of whether you bring him into your Supercoach team or not at that point.
Yep.
The Giants brought in Clayton Oliver, and they will also sign Jaden Laverde as a delisted free agent as well. Clayton Oliver, new environment, under 500K. There's going to be no Josh Kelly and Stephen Cornelio can barely get going these days. Do we see any relevance for Clayton Oliver?
There's a chance. No?
Stephen's more optimistic than I am.
No.
I love Clayton Oliver. I want everything that I say to be shaded by this. I love Clayton Oliver. I think he's done a lot of work on himself over the past year, and I think it's been trending in a positive direction. I was not happy with the way that he was told to explore his options by all reports and accounts, no matter how true or not they may be. It's pretty shit to turn to a guy and go, this is the role we got for you. If you don't like that, look elsewhere. That's a shit thing to do to anyone in any job. So I'm glad that he landed the Giants, who I like as a second team of mine. I just don't think from a Supercoach point of view where I can't see where he's getting the points from. Like, where is he taking those points from? If anything, he and Tom Green are very, very similar players. If anything, I've said for years that Tom Green is essentially a younger Clayton Oliver.
There will be people that start Clayton Oliver and then thinking that it will return him to that 105 to 110 average and he can make some money on top of his starting price. But I'm not entirely sure yet that he's going to return, because last season, full preseason, he was very underpriced. Most people started him and it just did not pan out. Like, it just did not work. There were people that held on to him and then eventually he was on their bench as cover, but he just did not return to the role that he had, and he just was never the player that he was before he sat out for that period of time. So I will happily be surprised if he's Supercoach relevant, but I just don't think he's a starting pick for 2026.
Agreed.
Hawthorn didn't bring in anyone, Stephen. Let me ask you some questions about Hawthorn about this now. So They were targeting Zach Merritt because they really need another midfielder in that engine room. They've got Will Day to return. They were offering up Henry Hustwaite and did not want to get rid of Cam McKenzie. And Essendon wanted a player of substance, a player of value. If the Hawks value Henry Hustwaite as much as it would appear in the offer that they gave up or they offered for Zach Merritt, do you think that means that they might put Henry Hustwaite in that role that they had for Zach Merritt, considering how highly they thought of him or were perceived to have thought of him in that offer?
Well, I mean, Hawthorn will be certainly wanting a couple of guys to have a big preseason and natural progression to kick in because of Warple gone. You need to find another guy to be in there, and Camp McKenzie is right there, ready to go. If you give him the keys, I'm a massive believer in Cam McKenzie still, 22 years of age, and yeah, I still think there's a lot of potential in him. Henry Hustwaite as well, I think is good depth if need be. And he can also compete for a spot as well. So I guess the result of no Merritt builds up stock for Hustwaite and McKenzie to get that fourth midfield spot with Days ever healthy, Newcomb and Nash. So and with Josh Ward as well. So yeah, there is an opportunity ready for one of Hustwaite or McKenzie, or if they'll do something a bit different and throw someone from a different position in there, whether if they do it with Dylan Moore and make Sam Butler the full-time half forward. So there's plenty of avenues, and I think it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. A lot of magnets will be moved around.
Speaking of how it played out, should we... How do we all experience the Zach Merritt-Hawthorn situation? Because I think it's one of the wildest things I've seen in football for a while. Because
if I speak, I'm in big trouble.
It's a lot of people being like real petty.
Most toxic 6 weeks I've ever seen it on that platform with Hawthorn Essendon supporters. And it doesn't help as well. I reckon, I don't know if anyone's ever thought about this. I legit think that 50% of the Supercoach community supports Essendon. 1 in every 2 support Essendon. And it's like, I can't get away from it. Like, and there's a lot of people to piss off if I say anything.
I saw Jack Ginnivan like a post about what the Dockers got for Lachie Neale.
Entirely different.
Yeah. Something that people forget about the Lachie Neale deal is he wasn't first choice mid at the Dockers at the time. Fife, Mundy, everyone ahead of Neale were still in their prime. Like, Neale was not going to be that main midfielder at the Dockers anytime soon. Like, he would have been probably about this age or a little bit, or maybe a year or 2 back, where he would have stepped into being that number 1 mid at Fremantle. And he was also a year off being an unrestricted free agent. But like that's how far back he was in the pecking order and in the Dockers sort of salary bands but the Dockers still got pick 6, 19 and 55 for him because he was under contract and because of the trajectory that they thought he could have. So entirely different deals, I would say. But yeah, it was interesting to see that one be the comparison that was thrown up, and I just don't think that there's the comparison there at all.
It's just been very funny, and I say this as somebody who also knows quite a lot of Essendon supporters. I want you guys to be happy because you're all kind of miserable, and that's fine. I get it. But also, I understand, but this feels like Essendon dug their heels in on principle. Hawthorn were not making great offers, and they waited too long to make a poor offer, in my opinion.
Sorry, Clarky, you've brought up a really good point there. Trade period
supporters are miserable.
Trade period goes for 10 days, and clubs talk well before that. Hawthorn threw out what they thought to be a pretty reasonable offer with only 48 hours to go.
Yeah.
And then their second offer came with 20 minutes left in the trade period. What did they expect?
To be fair, Zach Merritt officially requested on Tuesday though.
Oh yeah.
So we weren't, it wasn't giving us much time to, does he actually want to join us or not?
But I don't think he had to actually request. I think the request was what pushed it along. But I don't think he should have had to request officially in my eyes. Everyone knew through the media, through what Andrew Welsh was saying, that that there was noise that he wanted out. And Hawthorn knew that they wanted to make a play for him well before he made the request. Tom Petroro, his manager, fumbled this almost as badly as Hawthorn did.
And he got real mad at Jared Ruffhead.
And he got really mad.
What did Ruffy do?
He got really mad at Hawthorn as well. But I feel like it wasn't managed well by Hawthorn, Tom Petroro, or Zach Merritt. And Zach Merritt returning to Essendon is going to be one of the stories of next season.
That's my next bit, which is so many people, Essendon supported, you guys turned on Merritt so quick. And it really taught me something about football, which I realized that I don't have from decades of passionate following, which is this level of ego that exists within your club about loyalty, where it's loyalty, but it's Oscar Allen wanting to leave West Coast, that's fine because West Coast are garbage. So he wants to go to Brisbane. Nobody's really making that much noise about that. Christian Petrarca wants to go to Gold Coast. He's still got years in his contract. Everybody said that was a pretty good deal for everyone involved. So, but it's this funny situation now where people are oh, good. Essendon stood on it. Even Kane, the dipshit Corns, was yeah, good. Essendon stood on their principles. And now it's just an actively terrible situation for everyone involved because Merritt has to go back to the club. And whatever, they're all professionals. They'll play football. But I think, I don't understand any of that. But what I think the next steps are is that Zach Merritt needs to go back and be all ego to bring it full circle because he's still best 22 and now everyone in that club knows he fucking hates it there. He's still one of the best guys for the job at a workplace that he actively dislikes.
Your current captain wants to play for their biggest rivals under Sam Mitchell. It it's going to be an interesting day one. He can't have captaincy, can he?
No, for sure. It'll be Andy
McGrath
was
so much better.
Yeah, that was who was floated to me by some of the Essendon supporters in my life. And I was like, that makes sense.
They wanted him hung, drawn, and quartered 6 months ago with his ball disposal. They all hated him, and now what Zach Merritt did was bad. Oh, we love you. There's a captain.
The group loves him. The playing group loves him.
There's another name that's been offered to me as potential captain, and that's Mason Redman. When Zach Merritt first came out, and the media was reporting that he wanted to move out of Essendon, Mason Redman was quite strong in his language about his passion for the club and about wanting to support the players that wanted to be here and all that sort of thing. So I think
Mason Redman reminds the teacher that he gave out homework.
Yes,
I'll say it.
Yes.
Well, the funniest part about
probably right.
the whole thing with Redman was 2 days later it was announced that his manager was asking clubs if they want him.
Whatever. I don't know. I think it's very funny, and I think it's something that's super unique about AFL, where that level of like loyalty and pride is not always as closely intertwined with the trade period, and it was so wild to see something so visceral. Because people were asking me about Christian Petrarca and Clayton Oliver, and I was like, yeah, whatever. If they don't want to be there, then they should go be happy, right? Like, whatever.
In similar vein with Damo, the same thing. Like, I remember Essendon fans on Twitter were saying, but look at what Christian Petrarca got, though. And I'm, again, entirely different. Gold Coast don't give a shit about draft picks. Like, they just want to match fits. They don't care. Pick 7, 8 in a future first. They don't care. They don't need them. So they were like, yeah, go on then. Yeah, you have them. So it's like, you can't compare, it should be this deal and more. No, fuck off. No, they don't care about draft picks. They just got lucky it was to the right club.
Just one more thing before we move on. Sorry to hold this up. You've just reminded me that one of my favorite things about getting 7 and 8 for Christian Petrarca is that now that first round pick that we give to Essendon, we're not affected anymore.
Nothing.
Like we got 2 picks in the first 7 and 8. You know what? Stephen King, good job. Tim Lamb, you did all right.
King, you're cooking.
All right, moving on to the Demons. They brought in Brody Myercheck, Jack Steele, CJ Jath, and Max Heath. Jack Steele is an interesting one, Clarkie. We were talking before we hit record that you don't see how he and Viney brings a whole lot of different sort of energy to that midfield. And what sort of role do you think Jack Steele has?
I think Jack Steele is objectively a better footballer. I think Viney is a lot more of a physical player. But to be perfectly honest, I haven't seen Jack Steele play football for about 2 years. Because I haven't watched a lot of St Kilda games. And the ones that I'm playing, I don't know. I think he fulfills as a bit of a veteran gap that we need with Petrarca and Oliver leaving. Just King's appeal seems to be that we're going into that rebuild where we're working on our younger talent. So I really like that. I think I see him fitting into the Viney role a lot better than Jack Viney at the moment, but I think preseason will kind of tell us where chips need to fall, because apparently, we were discussing this as well, allegedly he's going to do this weird role that was offered to Clayton Oliver that Oliver didn't want to do and went to GWS for. So whatever that is, who knows? Bench?
Brody Myercheck gives you a target up forward, which you guys have been crying out for. I think that probably helps Jacob Van Rooyen's development as well. So you should see some nice development from him now that Myercheck is up there getting the number 1 key defender from the opposition. You've brought in Max Heath. That gives a bit of a succession plan behind Max Gawn now. Yep, another Moose. And
it's going to be confusing to hear people doing the Roo chant for Rooyen and Moo for Moose. Are they booing?
You're going to sound like a fucking farm at the end of
Melbourne supporters are booing a lot of their players these days.
And CJ Jath, well, they've brought him in to play a roll-off halfback. They said that when they brought him in, and I think he becomes a really interesting one for SuperCoach because He's going to be priced at about 350k. So awkward price range, but some stats here that have been fed to me by our good friend Azza. So since 2021, in games where Jath had 400 meters gained or more, he averaged 101.4 SuperCoach points. And in 26 games where he had 400 plus meters gained, he averaged 96. So there could be some value there. Could add 100 to 120k on his price. Awkward price point, but just something to keep in mind. And I think he steps into a role that you guys kind of needed to fill because McVee's obviously at the Dockers, as we discussed earlier. Salem's aging. You don't really have that next player coming through because Rivers is probably going to be moving into that midfield, and then
we delisted Tajwa Woden as well.
Yeah, and we don't.
He's probably up there.
And Andy Moners Wakefield as well, returning from the ACL. We don't know where he is with that recovery, so he could be not. So he could be out for the first part of the season as well.
I like CJ a lot. I think he's a great athletic player. I've always thought he's got pretty good vibes about him. He's also not terribly accurate with the football, which, living through an era where Sam Frost played for Melbourne, it kind of, harkens me a little bit back to that. So I suppose I'd rather have someone who's uniquely athletic and you can always improve on. I think you can improve more easily on technical skills, right? Theoretically. Surely. I don't know. It'll be interesting. He's an awkward price.
He's 26. There's not much time for improvement.
Hey, look, when it's your full-time job.
Yeah.
Surely. Get him some of that. What's one of the coaches that we brought on? Maybe Matty Scarlett will talk some sense into him.
North Melbourne only made one move, bringing in Charlie Spargo as a free agent. Not a lot of relevancy there, so I think we can move on fairly quickly. But yes, Charlie Spargo was your boy.
I love Spargo. He looks like a James Bond villain.
He does. He actually does.
It's the hair. He's kind of got that, what's the bad guy from Casino Royale kind of vibe about him. Listeners can look it up in their own time next.
Is it Mads Mikkelsen or is that's not?
That's the actor.
I don't think that's his name. I don't think that's the character name. No. I don't even know if that's the actor's name.
No, you're right.
It's just someone's name that we've thrown out there.
Mads Mikkelsen is an actor. Yes.
The Power had a fairly cheap trade period, bringing in Jacob Ware as a free agent, got Corey Durden for a late future pick, and then Will Brodie for 103. He's going to be he's going to be 120k, and he played every game for Freo the same season that Josh Carr was the midfield coach there. So I can see there being a role for Will Brodie, especially with Travis Boak now not there.
Yes, I guess no guarantee that he gets in there. Been playing waffle for a couple of years, but having Josh Carr as the as the senior coach now does help his chances. So I think it's probably Butters, Horne-Francis, Wines, and Brodie, but that's being quite generous to Will Brodie. There might be a couple of others in line too.
I think with 23 on the bench, it helps his case, and Will Brodie is going to be in every Supercoach team until he's not selected in round one, I would assume.
Yeah. That's the way to do it, baby.
I don't see there being much relevant for Corey Durden or Jacob Ware, so we'll just move on to Tigers.
Yep. I forget both of those guys exist until I see their name.
The Tigers brought in Patrick Rechko from Geelong. No idea this player existed
Was he not delisted?
Yeah.
Yes. So,
but the contract's held until the 31st of October.
The contract is held until the 31st of October, and by doing this deal, it means that Patrick Rechko is not a free agent when he gets to the end of his current contract.
And that's
he can just
good.
He's officially a player straight away.
Yeah.
Right.
According to Cal Toomey on Trade Radio, this guy was surprised at how easy the draft combine was because he does a 2K run as a warm-up before training.
So he's just a superhuman.
He is a massive running machine. I don't know where he fits in the Tigers team, but if you're trading for someone who got delisted, it probably means you have an idea for a role for them to try. I'm not sure what his job security would be, though.
To be fair, Pig 99's quite throwaway.
Yep, but if he's been delisted and you can pick him up for free, then they must have either had some inkling that someone else was injured, or it was interested, not injured. Wow, or they just wanted to not make him a free agent by the end of his contract. I don't know.
I guess they're just quite intrigued with his skill set.
120K, gonna midfielder, stick him on your bench until someone better comes along with better prospects.
Sounds good.
The Saints, we were talking about them not trading Rowan Marshall earlier because they brought in Tom DeCotting, Jack Silvani, Liam Ryan, and Sam Flanders. It's going to be so much easier to cheer for Liam Ryan now. Sam Flanders is going to be the one, isn't he?
He'll be the second most picked player when it opens behind Jacob Smith.
He will be 395K. Forward only, though. There won't be any dual position. He'll probably gain dual position in round 6, but 395K. If he can have the same role that he had in that year that he averaged, whatever it was, and ended up as the top defender the next season, I think he's going to be an excellent pickup in Supercoach. I hate Ross Lyon and the fact that he moves the magnets around so much, but at 395K, I think he's worth the gamble, especially in the forward line.
And Jack Steele going as well helps his case even more. So, yeah, I think it's a very, very good pickup for the Saints and very good for our Supercoach sides. Sam Flanders will be extremely popular. And we just need to see how that back holds up. Them trading Jack Steele makes me think that they might have inquired about how the back's going and he might have said, yeah, it's cool. So, just in case it wasn't. So, yeah, that's the only thing to monitor with the Sam Flanders thing over pre-season. He'll definitely play midfield.
I think Sam Flanders is going to be fine. I don't think the back issue was like a long-term issue. I think it was something that...
It was lingering, though.
I think Gold Coast tried to hit that on the head pretty outright. So
you don't want a lingering back. So
correct, yeah.
Yeah, if you got a sore back,